What's up, creative ones? It's Melissa. Much love from Bali, wherever you are on the earth plane. Drop me a line. Let me know that you are tuning into this video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Let me know what resonates, what it brings up for you, etc., etc. So I got a bunch of downloads yesterday, and I have all these notes, and so I'm going to try and put some of this into words. Some of it was even new for me, just new awareness. And sort of codes that were coming in that are really specific to this time. So I'm going to talk about scarcity. Scarcity is creating, right, our consciousness that's rooted in fear, that's rooted in separation. And a lot of this is our programming. A lot of this is our conditioning when we come onto the planet, right? It can be through religion, it can be through culture, it can be through the family, it could be past life, doesn't even matter where it came from. The imprint is there, and it's your job to evolve out of it with love, right? So, I've been teaching wealth consciousness for creatives and for healing facilitators. How to end the starving artist myth, how to end the healer martyr myth, right? And this is essential if you're going to anchor in the fifth dimensional consciousness and creations, right? Because all the old paradigm that's rooted in the third dimension, the third dimensional structures are rooted in martyrdom, especially for healers and creatives, right? They're rooted in, can be rooted in martyrdom, in pathology, in codependency, in disempowerment, and in illusion and trauma, really. There's no judgment about this. This is just like, if you've worked with me or if you've followed me for a while, I used to talk about how the creative journey, like the journey of self, it's the hero's journey for creatives. You have to find within yourself your own wholeness and evolve out of looking for validation. And this is true for healers too, right? And because I'm a creative healer, I guess in the old paradigm, it's like a double whammy, right? You have the conditioning and the imprinting of the creative, right? The starving artist myth, which disempowers your value, right? If you're looking for the outside world to value you, you are going to stay stuck and codependent on the external, the culture, other people valuing you, instead of dropping in, being the creator of your own reality and using your power to evolve your consciousness to validate yourself through your own creator source, right? So how does this relate to wealth and money and creator consciousness? So a couple things I just want to dive into. One is the way that I relate to karma is it is your creator consciousness. We create at the level of our consciousness, and the more karma we have, right, the more density, the more lessons. Karma is lessons. It's lessons. Karma is divinely designed for our dharma, for example. And our dharma is our soul's purpose, our soul's mission, and karma will wake you up to that, right? And everyone is unique to their own calling, soul's calling and mission and full self potential. And so it's divinely designed. So when we miss those karmic lessons, when we are looking outside for outside validation, if we're rooting our safety, security, what else? Sense of self in an external world that is crumbling right now. This is why so many people are having anxiety. This is why so many people are having depression and fear, is because for so long their sense of self, their ego identification and attachments are rooted in illusion, right? So money doesn't bring you safety and security. It can certainly be a tool for that, but if you're not rooted in something, in your own divinity, in your own divine line, in your own truth, in your own soul, right, and you are identified and learn how to emotionally maturate the feelings of safety and security, right? And how to create that sense, that feeling, that embodiment energetically, which is what we're all being called to do right now, right? This is how we evolve into the fifth dimension and kind of anchor and root that in as a new reality. So you do have the power. We do have the power to create our own reality and to experience that and to embody it. And it starts within. So we've got to pull our attachment, our resourcing, from these external structures, right? And reroute them into our divinity, into our connection to source, to creator, to God, to our own divinity, really. And anchor and express that, which is super exciting. So in my experience, and the message that came through yesterday was like, scarcity happens when you don't get the lesson, right? It's very easy for us to go into the shame, blame game and fear and the scarcity, right? When we are not taking personal responsibility for our own internal work, right? When we're not getting the lesson, when we're not being self-accountable. And that's what self-accountability really is. You're doing the inner work, you're taking emotional responsibility, you're learning to, and a lot of us, we weren't taught this. This is why I'm so passionate about creating a new earth school, which is what I'm doing in the moment here in Bali, is creating a wild school for children, and a world school, wild school, new paradigm, new earth, experiential educational experience, right? Where kids develop these tools around emotional maturation and creative self-expression, and they're really nourished in their own development, so they have these strong sense of self, so they're not being deprogrammed out of their own self-empowerment, and the families also have tools. The families have the support to really evolve out of their own programmings and really are committed to breaking the cycle with their own kids. So if you're interested in that, feel free to private message me. I just thought I would share that as an example. So scarcity is when you don't get the lesson or the blessing, right? Because we miss out on all the abundance, the full abundance of life. And I want to talk about that in a minute, because you're still running that patriarchal mindset and attaching and looking outside and looking to the ego, looking to the material to feed you, right? Instead of really going into your connection to source, God, love, universe, creator, spirit, however you relate to that energy, that source, right? And so that's the rewire that's happening right now. So the other thing that came through, and I've been talking about this over the last year because I've really seen it in my own life and my own awakening, it's like we have to, as the feminine rises, the feminine spirit, and we come back into balance and we're evolving out of a patriarchal mindset. And this is everyone. This has nothing to do with gender. This has to do with the energetics of it, right? The feminine form and the masculine form of energy. So the masculine form of abundance is money, right? It's structure, it's the materialism, it's exchange of goods, it's material things, it's gifts, right? It's money. The feminine form is energy, and so creation energy, right? And so that can also come into the form of relationships, ideas, vision, energetic consciousness, expansion. You can just feel abundant, right? And then you just kind of magnify and magnetize everything to you kind of effortlessly, right? That's definitely the feminine form of abundance. But in our wholeness, we need both. We need money and we need the feminine forms of gratitude, of relationships, of intimacy, of connection, of ideas, vision, gratitude. All of those things are the feminine forms. And we have, just like we've devalued in our society, art, creativity, emotional well-being, true spiritual maturation, and spiritual gifts, right? We have devalued or held, I would say another way to explain this is we've put money on a pedestal, right? We've put money, status, we've made it a false god. So people are obviously so freaking confused about it because one, we're seeing an economic system that is rooted in fraud, corruption, greed, manipulation, control crumble, right? Or start to crumble. And we'll see this in the next couple of years, because what's actually happening is it's recalibrating everywhere. We're even seeing this in Bali. It's amazing, right? Because Bali is just naturally a very abundant, place. Like, it's so rich in natural resources, and yet they've been polluted, and there's been a lot of greed and Western tourism, and all sorts of infestation, right, of that patriarchal mindset that has really, I feel like, has robbed Bali of many of its natural resources and gifts and spiritual gifts. And some of that's from internal too. I mean, I'm not going to say it's just a Western thing, but it is. We're going to see it. I've gotten really clear. I've seen that, and I've received the messages. It's like it's going to go through a rebalancing where we are called as a community, as a global community, and not just in Bali. This is everywhere. A balancing of those energetics from the inside out. We have to, and so this is the catalyst. What we're experiencing right now is absolutely the catalyst in the collective. So what can you do? You can learn as this old economy is crumbling because it's rooted in a false god, right? It's rooted in, codependency. It's rooted in scarcity. It's rooted in manipulation and control. You have to starve that system. Or you will, because you can't anchor that. You can't take that with you into the fifth dimension, into the new earth creations. It just doesn't work. But what you can do is do the inner work, come into wholeness, come into balance with yourself, and then create your own economy from a balanced, integrated, whole place where you are rooted in soul, you are rooted in source, you're so clear on your soul's purpose, you are focused, you are on mission, you are committed as a way shower to create the new. We need you. This is a co-creative, collaborative thing, and it requires everyone to stop being passive, stop giving your power away to these old dying structures, right? Stop complaining about it and do your part. Right? This is abundance alchemy. This is how we create the new economy. It's so exciting, actually. So it's not so much that money is bad, right? But, people that are like, especially I see money coaches selling, financial freedom and financial security. And it's like, it's a bit of an illusion. The true freedom is when you are completely in faith and trusting in your divine source and your divine self, that all of your needs are met. And that's a reprogramming, right? A lot of us didn't have the spiritual programming, that supports an abundant, prosperous mindset or wealth consciousness that is generative, that integrates that feminine aspect of abundance, which is generative. It's like life is on your side, right? We have to go in and reprogram our beliefs about God, and reprogram our beliefs, inherited deeply subconscious beliefs about money, about our own creative power, about our our ability to create our own reality, and to be and our own protection in that. Your protection really and grace really lies in you answering the call of your soul, and your heart. So scarcity is when you don't get the lesson or the blessing, and you miss out, you block it because you're running a program, right? It's almost like you're possessed by the matrix, if you will, right? And you're missing out on all the full abundance that life has for you because you're still running that patriarchal mindset. You're still idolizing money. Even if you think money is bad, you're still giving it way too much power, right? It's just a tool, it's just a form. And what we're going to see in the economy is actually it's the healers, it's the creatives, it's the way showers, it's the revolutionaries, the evolutionaries, the new earth creators, and paradigm shifters, grid workers that are calling in, that are coming into balance with their own power, right, on the masculine and feminine, and integrating that within themselves, and then anchoring that in their own consciousness and what they're creating with these new earth schools and new earth businesses and new earth paradigms and communities with shared collaborative like minds, so that you can really show up in your genius and collaborate with other people, right, who complement you and work together to grow something. Because that's where we're going to have to learn in these new earth communities, how to do intimacy, how to do relationship, how to collaborate equitably. Because in these new earth paradigms, in the fifth dimension, codependency has to be equitable. Scarcity, codependency, blame shame game, perpetrator game, no. Two whole people coming together in an equitable energetic exchange, right? It has to be in alignment or it won't work. So grace, feminine form of abundance; protection, masculine form; gratitude, miracles, blessings, vision, ideas, imagination, relationships, connections, collaboration, intuition, alignment. All feminine forms of abundance. So start to come back into balance in your own integration, right? In terms of your own wealth consciousness. So I think that's all I want to say today. If you want, enrollment is open if you want to join me in the Abundance Alchemy. This is how to create your own economy. This is going to be essential for new earth builders, right? We're going to be doing this internal and external work, and I'm going to give you the tools, the support, the focus, the community, the structure. You can go to melissadantoni.com under events. Find out more there. We start February 1st. If you have any questions, private message me. I'm sending you so much love. Bye for now.